If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to pump him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
And here it is. Here's what we're here to talk about.
There it is. Wow, 3-0. Okay. 3-0, not so bad.
The bonding exercise between Joe Mazzulla coaches and the Celtics media who got their asses whipped.
John, there's bonding and then there's bonding, if you know what I mean. And I have a feeling it was the second version of bonding in this case.
This will be fun. I like getting punched in the face.
Yeah. This is like, how many times can you get like stuffed in a locker or like swirlied at school where you're like, it's fine, like we're all having a good time.
We're cool, right? We're cool. Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it when I was a freshman and the varsity guys used to beat the crap out of me. That was great.
Yeah, it's cool. They do that. You know, it's just like it's team bonding.
It's cool. Yeah. They like me.
Yeah, they steal all my clothes.
Bobby,
you know Bobby hitting the deck.
Help him up.
Look at Bobby. He's got the cutoff. Oh, he's getting. Look at this. Oh boy, he ain't breathing. Caleb Burton. Oh, come on.
No,
reach in there?
Oh, no.
Oh.
No one didn't go for
zip.
it there.
It happens all the time, John. 12 zip. Teams get hot. They go off to an early lead, you know, and then the other team sort of claws back into it. Oh,
Bobby.
Know? Bobby's flopping around.
Only threes at this point.
Oh, God.
It was bad. It was
more
bad.
bonding.
We'll get more. We'll get to that later. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You really hate to see that, unless you're a media member. Then apparently you love to see it. It's almost like they won 55-4, John. The way some of the articles that I've been reading about this game.
And we got a lot of. I'll put up the super chat. You paid for it. My bully take. It's so funny. I put it up there. I put it up there again. There's a reason I didn't join a fraternity. I don't like that. It's fine. But you know, if you think Joe Mazzulla wasn't trying to send a little message to those guys, then I don't know what to tell you. But the funny thing is about it, when I put it on Twitter that like, oh, I felt, you know, this was, you could call, some people seem to like it. It was good entertainment. We got good content out of it. But don't tell me this was anything other than bullying, plain and simple. And the angry responses were, "Shut up, you wuss loser!" Like all the toxic alpha males were like, or it was good. The media deserves it, which I love. So
it goes to show they don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. They needed to learn. Yeah, no, they learn every press conference when Joe Mazzulla tells them how stupid they are. They trust me. They're pretty. They get it. They get it. They get it.
That was unreal, though. I mean, just again, slow clap to Joe. He always finds a way to outdo himself. You know,
he did it.
Like He did it, Joe. You beat up on a bunch of journalism majors.
Nice job, buddy.
Yeah. Oh man.
You got him good.
And then they all wrote about how great it was.
Yeah.
Imagine writing a column about getting bullied.
Oh my God. Anyway, it was fun.
We'll let Bobby defend himself. It'll be the only defense that he's had in the last couple of days.
Hey, Bobby redeemed himself nice in the media versus media game. I love that our New York troll is here spamming the chat. Mo, who liked us from the New York series, and he's still here hanging out. It was funny. Yeah. Of course, it was a message. Bonding would be like, let's play and we'll mix and match the teams, or Joe coaches one media team and gets on him and ribs Bobby for turnovers. That's bonding. This was emasculation. This was just
there's 94 feet of just like in your face, just like suffocation. Like you are not going to enjoy this. Like you are not going to enjoy this, man. Sorry.
You're going to hate every bit of this. It was so good.
Yeah, it's bonding, also known as kind of like hazing. This is borderline hazing.
This was hazing. This was hazing.
Yeah. Hey, good for them.
Let me show you just how little. I don't think Bobby might be the only one. Bobby might be the only one who entered that game thinking they had a shot. Everyone else was like,
Bobby poked the bear.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bobby should have known better.
Mo likes it here. Mo likes it. Thanasis Manning strikes again. Anyway, we'll get to that later. We'll hear from Bobby and Noah. They're licking their wounds, but they'll be back. Better, bigger, badder, stronger than ever. And that'll be fun. But the Celtics closed out their preseason in fun and exciting fashion. 110-108, kind of not quite a buzzer beater, but 0.8 seconds left.
Basically.
Basically.
Out of the timeout, you know, nice little
play. Shireman.
They left the hot hand open. Tillman was doing it all the last couple of minutes there. It was a Tillman. What's that?
Yeah. It was so close to but we'll get into it. But Shireman couldn't be more in the doghouse right now. And he's the one who goes under on the screen and allows the game tying three there in a really lazy defensive effort. Then he's got the inbound. And I swear it was 5 seconds and they didn't get the whistle and he almost didn't get it in. If there was 5 seconds there, Joe would have made him play like the Monstars by himself for 12 minutes, you know, to exact his revenge on Shireman. Shireman got a hook, Jimmy. He 30 seconds into his first, he played 30 seconds. And he got pulled, but he didn't just get pulled after 30 seconds. Joe was so upset that he motioned for the sub 17 seconds into his stint. He did something or multiple things that pissed Joe off
so
badly.
Like the one thing that Joe probably worked on.
17 seconds, Joe pointed to Minot and he said, "Get back in there." And when Minot shook Baylor's hands on the way out, he was kind of like, "Sorry, dude."
Bud. Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, he might be in the doghouse, which is tough because this is the year where you want to see something like Shireman. I mean, all these guys, all these rotation guys, you should want to be on the Celtics right now. You know, anybody who's a fringe guy, all the fringe guys should want to be playing for Boston right now because there's going to be a lot of opportunities. So if you get a quick hook, 17 seconds in or 30 seconds in, that speaks volumes about where kind of Joe thinks you are heading into the season. That is not where you want to be. And there's plenty of opportunities, plenty of playing time to go around. We haven't even gotten into the fact that Jaylen Brown left the game tonight. I mean, hopefully there's nothing more to that, but you could be even talking about potentially more playing time if that's the case. So for him to be at that point, it's tough. He's, you know, second year guy. You want to see somebody going into their second year, make some kind of a jump, make a leap, show something that maybe they weren't able to show as a rookie, you know, having gone through the whole year and the process of being an NBA. And you're not seeing that yet with Shireman. So, you know, fingers crossed. It's only been a few preseason games here, but not a great preseason for him for sure. Horrible.
I tweeted this as well. It looks like Ugo. I want to say Ugo, but it's Ugo. Ugo. It looks like Ugo has already passed both Shireman and Walsh on the depth chart. We'll save a lot of that stuff for a little bit later in the show, but we'll talk about this game and what we saw. Well, you know, one good thing, Jimmy, was you finally got to see starters versus starters. Joe Mazzulla's at the podium, but we did have a Jaylen Brown injury. We're hoping not a big deal. That's probably the headline tonight. Let's hear from Joe.
Coming back, feeling like his knee was better, losing, you know, coming in 12 pounds lighter and all of that. He comes in and scores 7 points in the last 3.5 minutes or so. Just what was it like just to see him kind of that work kind of pay off and kind of show itself in a meaningful way like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done. He's been here for 2.5 years, and I think he's just the ultimate professional and has really just handled the situation, obviously coming in halfway through the year and the big shot that he hit for us. And then last year, obviously, you know, not going the way that he may have wanted to, but then coming in with a different mindset. And I think we're doing some things defensively that kind of fit his personnel and fit the way he plays. As you could see, like he does a great job getting deflections, does a great job with active hands, protecting the rim. And so I think we're doing some of that stuff. And it's a credit to him and just his mindset to come in like he has and he's given us everything we could ask for, practice games, and like you said, that's kind of what it's all about. So I don't care that it's a preseason game. The fact is, we won, and he was a big part of that, and he delivered, and we're going to need him, as we start the season.
On the flip side, the late turnovers, once again, turnovers kind of plagued you this preseason.
Yeah.
What was it about their pressure that forced those turnovers? What are you looking for in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think in that situation where Anthony's the only ball handler, we all have to realize that we all have to be secondary ball handlers. I thought on 2 of those we have to come back and meet the ball. It has nothing to do with the pressure. When there's a trap in the backcourt, you have to just come and meet that regardless of who you are. And then the other guys have to embrace being able to be a secondary ball handler. The league is full of guys that are going to pressure, and if there's a night where we don't have guys, for whatever reason, we have to be able to step in and do that. So I think it's an area of growth for everyone. You just have to, you have to be comfortable doing that. You have to take that on, whether it's dribbling or coming to meet the ball, when there's a trap, so they can't run through it.
Over here. Joe, any update on Jalen?
No, there is not one. I think it'll be okay. I just talked to him after. He said he'd be fine, but I didn't get a full update. I'm sorry.
Was this a rest night for Sam, or did he have some physical?
Yes. Yeah, we had a good practice yesterday. It was fine, so it was kind of his turn.
And as far as some of the ball pressure you guys have faced, meeting the ball, like in terms of guys helping out a guy like Simons, and just some of the turnovers you saw throughout the preseason, like how do you go about addressing that? Because obviously some turnovers are going to come from an increased pace.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many we had before we took out Peyton and Derek and left Anthony out there by himself. It was probably 15, 16. And so if you take a look at, which again, Toronto's a great team and they force you to do that. So if you take a look at the type of turnovers we had at Toronto versus I had one here, we had 3 times that we tried to get open and they just deflected the ball out of bounds. We only had one of those tonight. Ugo passed it to Derek in front of Toronto's bench, and they did that. And so it's just cleaning up the ones where physicality is required, and it's getting open, it's being able to handle it. I thought throughout the game tonight we were able to do that, and it's a relationship. The guards have to do it, but the bigs have to do it, setting good screens and getting those guys open. But it's just giving the game the physicality that's required. I thought we did it, a decent amount of time tonight. Once we took those guys off, the other guys have to step up and be better. I told Anthony I left him out there on his own on purpose. So he has to be able to make sure that goes better.
Joe, I know plus minus isn't the end all be all, but Peyton was a plus 19 game high in a game he shot 1 of 11. Just what did you make of his ability to contribute without scoring?
Yeah, I mean, every time we brought him up the last year or so, it's been finding different ways to be impactful. And I think if you were to watch him during the game, you would have known that he missed 10 shots because of his effort and his body language. Unlike Jay yesterday, he missed like 5 or 6, and it was wearing on him. I was studying that. But you could tell that he knows that he can impact the game in a bunch of different ways. So to go 1 for 11, but
we're all pals now.
What was it? 10 assists, and
he neutered
3 rebounds there.
He's neutered.
He'll just do whatever it takes to help us win and give the game what it needs.
So it's probably over that
closing
game
quarter strong, like in the first and the fourth tonight in particular. Like the end of the first, they went on a run, and then the end of the fourth, you guys went on a run, and then they went on one right after their timeout. What goes into sort of like handling that momentum, and how do you think you guys handle it?
Yeah, I think there's themes that come up. So I think in the end of the first, I mean, it all comes down to live ball
being
turnovers.
so nice
live ball
now.
Turnovers equate to transition offense, equate to opportunities for them to play, and so we obviously you always want to end the quarter with the last shot. But I think the first, obviously the fourth, there was live ball turnovers, but in the first, those live ball turnovers lead to all the other things. So we just have to be better at that. I think we got to 2 for 1 in that situation. But it starts with, I think the themes are like turnovers, transition defense, offensive rebounds, and fouls. When those 4 things occur at the end of quarters, it puts you in a tough spot.
Joe, defensively from Ugo tonight, what did you see in terms of his ability to play the drive and then be disruptive as a help defender when he's stunting?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing from his game that we've taken is his defensive instincts, especially when he's off the ball. He has a great job just reading the game. His ability to rotate, deflections, So been very pleased with his defensive instincts, and he just has to continue to get better at those. Gary?
Joe, what would you take from Nimi's performance tonight? It seems like he struggled. He's had his moments, but
tonight was good.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like we're gonna be hard on Nimi, and I'm really looking forward to coaching him throughout the year. But as I told him, this is what you've you've worked your whole life for, is a chance to start for the Celtics. And I think you see this with players, you know, when they step into different phases of their career, where it's easy to be the rookie, and then it's kind of easy to be the fourth string big, and then it's kind of easy to be the backup. And now it's like, hey, like, I developed a mindset to deliver every night, and I think he has that. And I think it took some time, but like yesterday in practice, 2 days ago in practice, in tonight's game, he showed what he's capable of, and we just have to hold him to that standard. And he takes pride in that. He works at it, you know. But what we saw tonight is like that. I think he could be better than that, but you know, that's the guy we need, you know, more times than not.
Are you kind of his motivator, his Mickey
psychologist? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, is that? I mean, you're hard on him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, because I believe in him, and I think that his growth is important for us, and I think he's been here for 2 and change, and he's gotten better all the time, and you know, I think that's why you get into coaching, is you really get into coaching to take guys like that and see where they can get you, and it's been fun getting to that, and so I really do enjoy coaching him. Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Good. Thanks. Appreciate it.
This was Joe's make good press conference. It was, man. It was.
Yeah.
He definitely. Look, I've said this a bunch before. It's combat for him, and his blood
literally.
Was
I was
up.
thinking the same thing.
He was pissed off that last game. His blood was up, and he tore Jack Simone's head off over the most innocuous question ever. And he flipped out over the rebounding, and he wouldn't answer the questions. And he lost his shit, and he made an ass of himself. And I think through a period of self-reflection, realized it, and maybe in some sort of misguided gesture on let's bury the hatchet, he decided to, you know, humiliate the media in a media game, and like, we're cool now. But this was a clear make good press conference.
That's like, it's like your dad who can't show emotion the right way, so he like he's like, let's go play catch, son, and he's just like hucking like 90-mile-an-hour fastballs at you.
Yeah, again, wouldn't be surprising if Brad or owners were like, Joe, come on, dude. And so whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. But it's just now everybody's being nice. Mission, we got him. Everyone's sweet and demure, and that's that. And you know, if that was the ultimate goal, I will break them, and then they'll be nice, and I'll be nice back. And you ask me nice questions, and I will ask. You know, I will have nice answers. That's a very nasty question. Very nasty. Anyway.
But also, he kind of like dominated them yesterday. So now he's coming. It's like a tactic. It's like a war tactic, John. You know what I mean? Like now he's like shown his dominance over them. So now he can talk to them any way he wants, and like he's like already shown that he's like better than them by beating them down to a pulp.
Oh yeah, he's the alpha.
He's the alpha.
He's clearly.
He's now the alpha here, room, just to make sure everyone's aware.
If it wasn't clear, I'm the alpha.
So now, you can be nice because everyone, the pecking order has been established at the media coaches game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, as for the game itself, you've got the JB situation. No reason to freak out, even if it is a hamstring that keeps him out a couple of weeks. It just means 3 losses to start the season. They can live with that, I guess. It doesn't really matter, but it's not great because, you know, you did see how much of a drop-off there was, but to their credit, they remained competitive on a night where both Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons shot very, very poorly. Simons had an all-around dreadful game, offensively and defensively, with the turnovers. And, I mean, look at it, 6 turnovers, -5. He had 5 fouls, I think. He was brutal all game long. Defensively, I'm pretty dubious right now. I know it's a matter of effort, but there is also a matter of getting it, and I don't think he gets it. So there is going to be a problem there with him.
It's effort one-on-one, but it's you know, understanding where to be, when to be there, rotating, positioning. It is way more than just trying. If you've never done it before, it's not just, I guess I'll just try to play now. It's like actually there's instincts involved, right? There's way more than just I'm going to run harder and stand a little bit closer to you, you know? So that's going to be a work in progress for sure on the defensive end.
Yeah, but you know, you did see, and again, again, for those who don't know, Jaylen Brown exits and I'm sure most of you do, but Jalen exits with a hamstring tightness, 451 in the first quarter. And to me, I said it in our little group chat. It looked to me like Jalen was still ramping up a little bit this preseason. You haven't seen him go really full tilt. He doesn't look like he's like, it looked like it was a slow ramp up for him through the preseason and into the regular season. He's going to kind of play himself into Jalen's shape. I don't know if that contributes at all to what's going on here, but he's definitely hasn't really gone all out in any of these games. He's really been kind of just like feeling it out. He is also coming off season knee surgery as well. Right. So it's definitely not great. Soft tissue stuff you never like to see. I mean, these things can go all over the map. What they say after the game doesn't mean anything, but these are usually a minimum 1 to 2 week things, potentially longer, and there's always risk of re-aggravation. It's not an awesome way to start the season, so we'll see. I mean, you definitely have to think they're 7 days out, and for enough of us play fantasy football to know your guy pulls a hamstring, he's out the next game. It's usually a 2-week injury on the modest side, so hopefully it's not too long. But he's had this before and come back relatively quickly, so we'll see. If it's not a big deal, but the opener's definitely in doubt here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of nailed it. It's a hammy. You see it in baseball a lot, right? You see it in football a lot, running backs and whatnot. Of course, the problem this year, John, is that they can't afford to lose anybody. Jaylen Brown, I've said this on past shows, make whatever prediction you want for their season, but it's basically an auto L. If you're playing the game and Jaylen Brown can't play or Derek White can't play, to me, that's about as close to an auto L as it can be. And so there's just no wiggle room. Last year, you were able to get by if one of those guys missed a game because you had so much depth in that starting lineup. And, 1 through 8, you just had guys that could slide in and they could make do. And everyone knows what their records were without Tatum and without Brown and all that stuff. It's not going to be the case this year. If Brown has to miss some time, those are going to be ugly, ugly games. I'd be stunned if they won a single game that Jaylen Brown didn't play this year. 1, because Jaylen Brown's a really good player, but 2, take a look at that. Take a look at the roster. Take a look at the lineup. Take a look at some of the players that aren't really stepping up right now in a situation where they probably could earn some extra additional playing time. A lot of the guys that you're going to see get burned for the Celtics team are fringe rotation guys that are going to find themselves in a rotation this year. Because of the offseason that the Celtics had to have. The only hope that Celtics fans have is that this Jason Tatum stuff is real. And that if the players believe that, if they've been told that, hey, secretly, we feel that, Tatum could be back in January, that's going to give them all hope. That's going to give them all a reason to believe that they can compete, believe that they are going to be a contender this year, play hard, try to earn those wins. And then you've got something going. If they all know that, yeah, Tatum's going to make his recovery. He's going to go at his pace. He's going to be around, but we aren't expecting him at all. Then I don't know why you would rush to. I don't know why you'd try to get Brown to come back until he was 110%. I don't know why you'd do any of that with Derek White as well. So we'll find out, obviously, at some point. But with the hamstring, hopefully it's just like I said. They're saying it's a tightness. They're not even saying it's a strain or anything. So that could be something, John. If it's just tightness. It just tweaked something, felt funny, got a massage in the back, and they said, you know what, it's not worth going back out there. You very well could see him a week from now.
Yeah, you never know. And again, I don't think that this is like it's not a non-contact knee injury where you're sitting here waiting for an MRI. You're looking at severity of a hamstring strain. Worst case, he's out a couple of weeks. Best case, he's back next week. We'll see how that goes. As far as everything else goes, I will say Derek White probably had as like effortless a preseason as you could imagine. Legitimately, what are we doing here, Bailey? We're gonna toggle this. He and I are fighting over this lower third. He's not helping me. He's helping me. Bailey's helping. I'm sabotaging my producer. Yeah.
Hands off.
33 points tonight. 17 threes, bombs away. Holy shit. He's gonna, you can't read a ton into preseason, but I think you can read into Derek White's gonna just fire at will, right? That's just what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we used to scream at the TV because he wasn't aggressive enough, and I think he was passing up shots. When we first came out of that Celtics team, and they weren't going down, so I don't blame him. But completely different mindset for Derek White. I'm sure Joe's been drilling into his head like, "Hey, you need to be aggressive this year. You're our guy. You're one of our You're our 1A again. 1A, 1B with him and Brown. If Brown's the one, and he's very close too, right? So he needs to go into every game with that mindset. Whereas if he's not shooting, John, they're not going to find enough points. He needs to be putting up high volume shooting and obviously the 3-point attempts tonight. I'm not saying that's something I want to see on a game in game out basis, but he have 17 threes that he took tonight, something crazy like that. I know that that's not as crazy as it once used to be, but it's still a freaking very high number that I don't think you want to get there to 6 or 17 from 3. But Derek White's going to be putting up numbers this year for the Celtics team. He's such a good all-around player, two-way player for them. He's going to have a huge role, and I just hope that they can help him enough around him because, like we said, John, if one of those guys is off on any given night, there's just not enough help, it seems, at this point to allow teams to they can kind of cheat a little bit. If they see Derek White or Jaylen Brown going off, there's ways to take them out of the game, or at least try to. I'm not saying you saw it tonight in this preseason game, but I think in the regular season, you're certainly going to see teams adjust and target or focus on White and Brown. And they're going to make the Pritchards of the world. They're going to make Simons. They're going to make, pick your bench guy. Tonight it was Tillman. They're going to pick those guys to be the guys to be the X factors, if you will. So that's what you saw tonight a little bit. But Derek White, good to see a performance like this. I mean, I know, again, 6 or 17, it's a good percentage. It's just such a high volume. I don't know if that's how they're going to be looking to get him shots up this year.
It's really more indicative to me of the I've said this a few times during the preseason. Just the green light. There's no Tatum. There's only Jaylen. Obviously other people that are going to shoot, but you don't have as many mouths to feed. He's designed to be the alpha here.
He has to. That's what I'm saying. He has to change his whole mindset, right? Because when he came onto the Celtics team, he was behind Tatum, he was behind Brown. They went on and they traded for Holiday and they went and traded for Porzingis. And obviously, what was it, 2 years ago, he didn't even crack the ESPN top 100. He came out of nowhere in a sense. I'm not saying he came out of nowhere where nobody knew he was a talented player, but he certainly was underrated and unheralded. And now he's kind of got a target, right? I mean, he's a guy that you game plan around. He's a guy that makes the opposing team's, whiteboard. If you go into the opposing team's locker room and they've got the whiteboard and they've got the names up there, Derek White's going to be front and center as a guy that they have to figure out a way to stop and where to look for him, how to take him out of the game and things like that. So he's going to have a huge role for this team this year. And he arguably is the most consistent player on this Celtics team. So
you're not going to get an argument from me.
I know.
You're not, because he does so much for you. He's going to be asked to do a lot more this year as well. So
all rounded,
yeah, he did it. He did it all tonight. So he was great. He looks great. What is everyone talking about here this season? So what are we talking? What's everyone? I was just sending it. People are like that I'm doing something funny. I was just sending a note to the guys in the field. I'm multitasking, Jimmy. It's what I'm doing. I'm multitasking.
I saw what you were doing.
Yeah. Was that okay?
Yeah, it was fine. I had no problem.
All right. Well, we're going to get back to the podium, see who else talks for tonight. We're going to get Bobby and Noah on the show as well, because they're there and they're going to want to talk about tonight's game and the game that took place, of course, yesterday. We are going to let you know, first off, about our pals over at Prize Picks. And you know the deal by now. This episode and all episodes here on the Garden Report are brought to you by Prize Picks. And you know this, Jimmy, you and I make decisions every day, but Prize Picks being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. And Jimmy, I am almost always right. Prize Picks is simple, and maybe not. Pick more or less 2 to 6 player stat projections with up to 2,000 times your cash. And if you get your picks right, of course, you can cash in. PrizePicks has great assurances and great promotional deals. Injury reboots, someone gets hurt, leaves the game in the first half. PrizePicks won't count it as a loss if they don't return. In PrizePicks also
Jaylen
invented the
Brown.
flex play. Exactly. You're safe there. You're safe. You're covered on Jaylen. If you took more on anything, it's off the books. PrizePicks invented the flex play. Means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. And again, a lot of great promotional things. You get free squares all the time. Play it however you want. Mix and match sports. Personally, I like to lock in on one sport or one window of time. I like the 1 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock games, what have you. But download that app today. Use code CLNS to get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good. I played the intro. It's good to be right.
I was like, hell yeah.
It's good to be right. Hello.
It's good to be right.
It is. It is good to be
confirm.
right. I can confirm. Other things tonight, Joe Mazzulla talked about it, and I think it's worth talking about because this was a little scary-ish. This was a weird one, and Joe Mazzulla said before the game he's going to be messing around with rotations, so we can't read into everything. But the other game, Chris Boucher started at the 5, and Neemias Queta is kind of buried, and he hadn't had a great preseason so far, and he was the presumptive starting 5 because starter at the 5 because there was nobody else, right? Like, did you really think it was going to be Boucher or Garza? But he's been objectively terrible. And tonight was a good redemption game. And it wasn't just the results. I do think he was just sparkier. He was moving better. He's still going to get beat up sometimes, a little bit slow. He can get abused in the pick and roll. But, he did a good job on the boards here. A couple good passes, had that really nice assist on the bounce pass to, was it Minot on the baseline? 8 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. He was a real presence there. Like, this is kind of what you need. Grab boards, provide some rim protection. That's it, man. And then just don't make an ass of yourself when you're out there. He's the only guy on the team who can deliver this kind of line right now. He's the only guy who can do this sort of stuff. So you kind of need him. But I can't imagine that they're playing. I know Hauser was out tonight. I can't imagine they're playing a double big lineup. So I do wonder, one of these guys is starting on Wednesday. I'm kind of sort of hoping it's Queta.
I'm hoping it's Queta too. I just think this is his year, right? We've always seen flashes, but the consistency is what's killed everybody. One game he's looking like tonight, John, like you said, sparky, looks like his little pep in his step, quicker to rotate. I think that's where he gets lost out there is on the defensive side of things. I think he just drives Joe mad sometimes. But you're right. 8 points, 12 rebounds, 4 blocks. That's an unbelievable. If you can get those types of numbers from him on a nightly basis, you're loving the production from Queta. I do think they do need somebody like him in that starting lineup just to give them some size. They need physicality. They need toughness. And he's somebody that can give you that. I've seen him get a little angry streak in him before, John. I don't want to see this Celtics team getting pushed around and getting bullied out there. I don't want this to be coaches versus media. You know what I mean? I need to see the physicality inside. I know it's a 3-point shooting league now and it's run and gun and all that stuff, but you still want to be able to have a little bit of balance. You still want to be able to instill a little bit of force down there. I know that they're not going to be they're not the second coming of the Twin Towers. There's nobody coming right now that's going to, be the next Wemby, or not that there ever will be, but they play to their strengths. But at the same time, John, you've got to be able to play tough. You got to be able to play big in some capacity. And Queta is one of the few that can be. I mean, Garza is a little bit softer, obviously. They're going to have other guys in and out of the 4 or 5 there as your bigs, but I don't know. I think you got to just put Queta in there and just hope that you see a little bit more consistency with the energy side of things. And it's not even offense. No one's looking for him to like score, right? I mean, you want to be able to move the ball through him. You want him to be able to maybe extend some plays, give them second chance opportunities, grab boards, and just get them out. I imagine Joe saying, grab the board, turn, and let's get going on the offensive end. Like, get down the court.
Yeah, we got someone else. someone else sitting down, but I just lost. Oh, it's Derek White. Let's get to Derek White a little bit here.
Derek, Joe talks a lot about closing quarters. Raptors went on a run at the end of the first, and then at the end of the fourth there, you guys went on a run and they sort of matched it. What goes in like mentally to managing those runs and sort of dealing with the momentum shifts?
Yeah, I think in that first quarter, they kind of changed their matchups up. And I think we got some good looks, but it kind of rushed us a little bit. So that's something that we've talked about before. And so it'd be good to have on film and to learn from that. And then, like when you're not making shots and you're constantly in transition defense, that's kind of how they got back into the game there in the first. And then fourth quarter, especially a team like this, like just pick up full and kind of make it difficult, but we're able to make enough plays to find a way to get a win.
And then you're gonna have the ball in your hands a lot more this season. How has it been developing the chemistry with the big man room, like in terms of the screening, where you want the screens, the timing of it all? Like, how's that been going, especially since a lot of those guys are new?
Yeah, I think it's just a work in progress. Obviously, about like screening angles and where to set it, but also like where to roll, when to pop, how far to roll. So that's just something that we're just going to continue to develop and just working that two-man game and just developing that relationship depending on what they do defensively. And so it's going to be a work in progress, but got a lot of guys that are good listeners, good hard workers. And so I think we'll just pick it up well.
Derek, what did you want to get out of tonight? You came out hot, hit your first 3 shots, and then also stood up pretty solidly defensively.
We want to just go out there and compete. I mean, it's the last game for a week, and so just try to push it, get tired, shoot while you're tired, try to just see how that feels, and this is the best way to simulate it. So just go out there, compete, have fun. I know they were going to play hard, and so that was a good challenge.
How much more did you take on after Jalen went to the locker room? And is that something that you're also trying to mentally prepare for, being the guy?
I think we're just constantly trying to figure out what we're trying to do offensively and just trying to find a great shot every time down. And I think I had the ball in my hands a lot, and especially like when JB goes out and like Sam's not in. So just trying to find that balance of being aggressive, but also I think I got to do a better job of just getting off of it and getting some movement. So it'd be good to see and try to be better from a week from now.
Xavier Tillman had, I think, all of his points in the final 4 minutes and the game winner, obviously. Is there something about his demeanor that just like allows him, this is his second game winner as a Celtic, that allows him to be calm in those moments from your standpoint? Or just like, what is he like in those moments, final timeout, kind of going back onto the court?
Yeah, that floater is clutch. He just kind of is very consistent for day in and day out with his work, with his energy. And so when things are going well, things are going bad, he kind of keeps that same demeanor. And so when the game's down the line, like he's really encouraging, he's really upbeat, and ball came to him and he made a play for us.
And is it kind of cool to see somebody who for most of the last year has been on the sidelines for those moments get to now play a larger role potentially this season? Is it kind of a gratifying thing as a teammate?
Yeah, it's great to see like his hard work, obviously being hurt and battling through stuff like he has been for last season, and for him to feel confident in his ability and in his body to go out there and make plays like doing Euro steps and stuff, like it's great to see. And so like X has worked his ass off for this, and so it's great to see him get the reward for that.
Joe was saying how Ugo's defensive instincts have been impressive. What have you seen in terms of his ability to make an impact at that end?
He plays so hard, so that's always like a good first start. He just knows how to play, knows how to be in the right position, and competes at a high level. So ever since I've seen him, just constantly working hard, constantly asking questions, constantly learning, and you could tell that he's been a pro for a while and he's played basketball at a high level for some time now. And I think he's done a lot of good things for us in this preseason.
What specifically are some of the questions and the stuff that he's picking your brain about and trying to learn?
I mean, just trying to figuring out the game. The NBA game is just so much different from the FIBA game, spacing wise, rules wise. So just kind of figuring out those games, figuring out what works here, what doesn't work here, and I mean, he's a quick learner. He's a big time competitor. So it's great to see him continue to make strides each and every game.
Derek, Malcolm Brogdon announced his retirement today, and what are your reactions after that? And did you talk to him?
Yeah, I had actually just seen it when I was on the table today before the game, so I haven't had the time to text him. But I mean, I always enjoyed my time with Malcolm here, and had a great year with him, and I know he's gonna enjoy the time off with his family and his kids, and so I'm definitely gonna shoot him a text here soon. But unbelievable career, great player, and I wish him the best.
Thank you, Derek.
And there we have it. Derek White is done. Bobby Manning is threatening to come on, but he hasn't yet. But I see him lurking.
He's lurking. Bobby,
He's lurking.
blink twice.
He's set up, but he's not coming on yet.
Okay, that's fair.
But he'll get there. He'll get there. There's Bobby. Bobby's on. I'm popping off for 10 seconds. I'll be right back. Bobby.
All right. Hockey sub.
Bobby, you look familiar. Last time I saw you, they were mopping the floor with you at the media game.
Now, hold on. Let's hold that for Noah. Let's talk some preseason first.
All right. Hit me with.
It wasn't just me.
Yeah, it's true. It wasn't just you, but you're the only one brave enough to show their face on the show after, I guess. But we'll talk about the game first. Me and John kind of broke down a few of the things that went on in this one that we talked that stood out to us. Joe had, right before we went to Derek White, we were talking about Keita. It looked like Joe had some nice things to say about Keita after the game today, obviously, and sounds like he's going to continue to be pretty hard on him based on what he had said.
Yeah, and I started to glean through the preseason as, he sat out the first game. They were rotating some guys in and out. Then, didn't start the Sunday game. There was just some weird stuff there throughout, and he didn't play super effective through the early portion of the preseason. Right. Tonight, you saw him get back to himself almost immediately, slipping on a couple plays where he scored inside. Got blocked on a play that Joe wasn't thrilled about. Looked like he wanted him to finish more aggressively on that one among some of the early action. But then late, the rim protection boost he gave them was significant. And that, more than anything else here, the rebounding is obviously huge for them. Needs to be able to score a little bit. But he's one of two rim protectors on this team. And the other one's Minot, who doesn't even play center. So there's a heavy burden on him to protect the rim, be in the right positions defensively. And I think that's where Joe pushes him the most. And I thought it was weird this preseason. We haven't heard from him a ton. I talked to him the other day about some of the Eurobasket stuff in a video we did, but he just hasn't been super present and making his imprint, separating himself at that center position the way you would have expected him to. In fact, when Boucher started over him on Sunday, it's like, all right, is that starting to lean in that direction? It was unimaginable that this guy wouldn't be the center on opening night. But even with Hauser out tonight, and that was a scheduled rest night, as you heard Joe say. Mm-hmm. I have to feel like this is going to be their starting lineup next Wednesday, right? Pritchard, well, depending on Brown's health, Pritchard, Brown, White, Boucher, and Keita. Like that to me is almost a no-brainer because it gives you a little bit of shooting and it gives you some extra size inside, which you're going to need if Embiid's out there.
What's your gut feeling on Brown?
Doesn't sound great, didn't look great, didn't see him in the locker room, and I'm not going to glean much more than that. Definitely a situation where you'd say there's some precaution here rather than, him just flying right out of the game. He played through it a little bit. Looked like he didn't want to come out of the game necessarily. So I think those are some positive signs, but the negative is that's a hamstring with a guy who has a history of some hamstring stuff and missing significant time with hamstring stuff. So
weeks is in play with a hamstring, even longer if it lingers. So it's definitely not the kind of
Yikes,
injury you want to
dude.
hear.
Come
Yeah,
on.
that's just how this stuff goes. It lingers, right?
Well, they
Hamstring,
called it. They just called it tightness, didn't they? They just called it tightness.
I don't.
So
Yeah,
I
you
don't
never
buy
know.
the
That's the whole
tightness
point.
thing.
Is nothing
Bobby
matters.
just declared Brown out for 3 weeks, John.
No, but I mean that's the point. You grab the hammy. You
It's
go
possible.
Off, it's a strain. The range of hamstrings is literally
massive.
A week to 2 months. Like it's a big range. You're hoping it's minor and it's nothing. But him saying he's okay or blah blah blah, like it's you're out.
They have a week here, which is good. It's a little bit of leeway, but
what's
let's
the
say it's 2 weeks.
what's the lineup look? What's the starting lineup look like if Brown's out?
Shireman. I mean, that's who they went to in the second half.
At this rate, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're digging deep at that point. And listen, it's impressive they won this game without him against a team on the other side that was trying to win and has some real players. And when we went in the pregame for Toronto and their coach said they were playing everybody, I almost threw my hands up in the air and said hallelujah. Finally we got to see two teams actually playing their guys here, and the Celtics still won. It wasn't pretty for the stretch through halftime after he left. I think it was 38-31, but they hung in there and then closed. Obviously with some turnover issues down the stretch there, which we can get to, that were pretty much there all preseason. So it's going to be a struggle, but I'll say this, John, and I don't know if you're going to agree with this. They do look a little plug and play right now, don't they? No matter who's out there, no matter what lineups they're running, and they're shuffling guys in and out of the court, you can't even keep up with who's on the floor at any given time. They're kind of all just doing the same thing, right? They're getting up the threes, they're getting on the offensive glass, they're doing everything that Missoula emphasizes there, and they're playing, the margin game to try to stay in, even with some of their less talented lineups on the floor. It looks like they have a system in place that's going to be able to sustain through even some of their depth lineups right now. Now, let's see it against a better team than Toronto. I wasn't super impressed by what the Raptors threw at them tonight, but it was a fully formed lineup against a Celtics team that's still trying to figure it out without their two best players in this case. White stepped up. Pritchard was rough, but still had a good passing game. And then the turnover stuff late, I don't know if you agree with Joe that a lot of that was intentional to try to test Simons and all of that. It does show once you get deeper on this roster that you don't have a lot of secondary ball handling, but you have enough when the regulars are out there to get by, it looks like. And White, I mean, he can shoulder a bigger burden than I think even we might have imagined based on what he did here tonight. So can they survive a couple weeks without Brown and stay 500? I think so. But the more, and we said this, John, you chip away at this roster, especially at the top end, you lose a Walsh at the bottom end or, bench side of things here. That's one thing. To lose Jalen in the final preseason game here is another thing that starts to put some real stress on this roster and some of the younger guys further down the line there. Now, nice to see some wings stepping up in that position at the very least. I liked Minot's preseason a lot. I don't know if you guys have mentioned Ugo yet, but he was probably the biggest pleasant surprise alongside Tillman of the preseason. So they have some guys who have stepped up.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was going to ask you, I don't want to spend too much time on this specific game, but just preseason as a whole, who was a pleasant surprise for you? Or maybe on the other aspect, who kind of disappointed you? Did you have some higher expectations for? It just doesn't seem like maybe they are at the point they need to be at going into the regular season. So if you can start on either way, you want to go positives first or negatives.
Yeah, I think there's three big positives in terms of the pleasant surprises. Ugo being an NBA player, it looks like at this point, or at least being able to play some NBA minutes. I thought, and Noah tweeted this during the game too, he seemed almost inevitably main bound to start this season. And it looks like he's, especially with an injury in play now, absolutely going to be in Boston to begin this season, at least for the first couple weeks before that main year starts. We'll see what happens after that. So he's definitely on that list. Tillman being anything is massive. You didn't even know if this guy was going to be on the roster the way it looked at the end of last year. And now for him to give you what he gave you tonight and in some of these other spots in the preseason, especially at that position where there's so much uncertainty, is significant. And then, of course, Minot, who pretty solidly won the backup wing competition, I think, through preseason here. So those are the positives. In terms of guys who were letdowns, you want to see more from Walsh. It looks
Walsh
like
and Shireman, I think everybody would say.
Yeah, especially with the injury, missing a couple games, that was tough. And then Shireman, that was really rough what we saw from him this preseason. Now, I'm not ruling him out. A couple injuries, and even this one here, he's back in play, and he started the second half. But it was a struggle for him out there for a lot of this preseason to find his spots, defend consistently. I know you asked me, John, why he got pulled after 30 seconds there. Amit was on press row with us too, wondering what was going on there. I have no idea what that was all about. Maybe just like a defensive or matchup thing that they were trying to get. That's usually what Joe says when that thing happens, but I had no idea why he just came in for 30 seconds in the first half and then was right out of there. But he was pretty squarely alongside Walsh because of injury at the back end of the wing competition.
Facts, my
you guys
dog.
You guys want me to talk now?
Well, I didn't know
Bobby,
if Noah was jumping on or if we were going to keep going.
Yeah, no, my question is this. There's Noah. What happened to Baylor in that 30-second stint? What did he do?
I have no idea. Do you know, Noah? Why did Shireman play for 30 seconds in the first half? Noah's still sitting up here. I have no idea. And it's funny, like I just said, Amit was sitting with us on press row, and he even was like, what was that all about? Usually Joe, when something like that happens, says it's like, they're matching the other team's subs. So maybe Toronto put someone in that spot that they wanted to have him line up against, and then they came out pretty quickly there. But that was weird. And then he starts the second half, which I thought was weird too. Maybe to have more ball handling out there or just another shooter, keep the second unit intact. I don't picture him starting opening night if Jalen's out. But that's the direction they went tonight with him in that spot. They need some shooting in the starting lineup, and I don't think they're going to go three guards if Jalen's out on opening night. So maybe he is in position to play just because of his shooting pedigree, size, and ball handling, which is amazing to say because of how bad he was in the preseason. Like doing what he did in the preseason and then maybe starting opening night. Not necessarily saying that's going to happen here, but that's where you are, John. If Brown's out.
You're in trouble. Right now at the wing, I kind of half texted it, half tweeted it, but like as Ugo passed these guys,
I don't think they'll start Ugo on opening.
Not Ugo, but Ugo and Minot have passed Minot for sure. But Ugo passed Shireman and Walsh on the depth chart?
Yeah, I think so.
Ugo is definitely past Walsh, no question. I'm not really sure what Walsh does. I'm not trying to be mean, but what is it that you actually do here?
He doesn't have a role necessarily right now, and that's a tough spot to be in. And I'll just mention it, not to sound any alarms or anything, but he does have a non-guaranteed contract. So I'm not saying that he didn't do enough here to make the roster. You get hurt, and they know what he is, but he's definitely a guy with a little more to play for than some of these other guys in this preseason. It didn't go great.
No testing. Sorry, no, I thought you were good. Sorry, no, give me a mic word. You're good. Yep, she's good. Okay.
Well, if you could hear me testing, that means it worked. So
no, you did the thumbs up thing. Now John's gone. I was gonna ask John before you hopped off there, Jimmy. Do you come away from this preseason?
I'll be John.
Yes. You're next in line among the expert panel.
I'm mad about something. All right,
come on.
I'm mad about the media game.
John's churning himself up right now to go crazy about the media.
Yeah, John's listening to Metallica. He's getting ready. He's fired up. What am I gonna get pissed about? Let's go.
I'll ask Noah this too. Do you feel more or less confident about this team coming out of the preseason? And yes, you have to include the Jalen injury in your answer.
I think more because I'm not taking Jalen's injury too seriously.
I just told you to.
What? What do you mean?
I said you got to take the Jalen injury.
I'm taking it into consideration. Why you didn't tell me I have to take it seriously?
Fair.
Yeah, but if it's not serious,
you can't tell me how to take the injury.
I just established some instructions for the question.
Why don't you? It's her answer. You can answer it your way.
Answer it any way you want.
This is the problem. The problem is that now my new seat is that I'm sitting next to Bobby. So coming on the show after that is going to be a problem.
That's a huge problem. Thoughts and prayers.
Too much conversation already.
Yeah, too much. So
All right, what's
I
your
feel
answer
better
without any rules?
because I feel better than I did beforehand for a couple of reasons. One, because Xavier Tillman looks like a different player than he was last year, and he was like literally, he feels like it's like a draft pick or something. Like he was not in our forecast. That's one. I think Josh Minot is better than I expected. Somebody that I hadn't heard like a ton about prior to the season. And then honestly, maybe this is more mental. Maybe this is like my oversight, but I almost feel like I kind of forgot how good Derek White was. And so preseason has been a nice little reminder there. So I feel like there have been a lot of encouraging things about this preseason. Obviously, a couple of guys, as you guys have talked about, have struggled a bit. But the Jalen injury, if it's a real thing and he misses a few months, then obviously that's really bad. But I don't.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Do not speak that into existence.
I didn't want to mention that.
I hate when you guys do this. When I say something and it's like months.
I didn't want to spill the beans on you.
Is that a report?
I didn't know.
No, I'm just saying.
No, but Jimmy, I didn't want to mention it because I want to approve it through Noah first. But when we were talking during halftime, she said months, and I was like, months?
I didn't.
All right, we need the lower third.
I'm just
lower
saying
third,
that we
Noah
don't.
Colon.
No.
Okay, we won't do that. We won't do that. Yeah, that's a fair question. Will Jaylen Brown play? Let's leave it at that. How about that? Okay.
John just said it
We're
before
not-
you came on, Noah. The range is massive in terms of the time.
We have no idea.
When it comes to a hamstring, exactly. It could be what they're saying is tightness, all the way to something that's lingering. A strain, God forbid, knock on wood, a tear. It's not that, but the hamstring can go in a number of different ways. Let's assume that it's minor for the sake of argument here. And let's assume it's not going to change the course of the season. Maybe he doesn't suit up for opening night. Maybe he does. I think we're talking about a couple games here. That's my completely uneducated take. Regardless, Noah, I am interested, or I'm still interested in your take on this roster after you've seen these preseason games. Right before you jumped on, we had Bobby kind of go with some of the highs, and then he also mentioned some of the lows, talking about players' stock kind of rising or stock kind of dropping here as we go into the regular season. Do you have any stock dropping guys? Because I think we all know, well, unless you have some stock rising guys, whatever direction you want to go here.
Yeah, I think the guys that struggled more in preseason, Jordan Walsh missed he missed 2.5 of the 4 games. So I don't know, like he didn't do much today, but he also was coming off of an injury. He wasn't active the last week up until I think yesterday. So I'm not going to like freak out about it. I think Baylor had a tough preseason. Kada looked really good today. He had a tough start to preseason. But my biggest surprise was Josh Minot, not necessarily tonight, but he did some things in this preseason that I just, Jalen said it at practice the other day, but he said we actually kind of could have used a player like him over these past few years. I thought that was a very telling quote where it's not just like, oh, Josh Minot can eat some minutes right now, like because we are lacking a bunch of talent. It's like he actually has a skill set that would have benefited the Celtics like throughout their championship couple of seasons. So he's probably my biggest surprise. I'm trying to think who else could be up there. He's probably number 1.
Tillman.
Yeah, Tillman. True.
I mean, Tillman's such a big one because you just didn't know if he could even play anymore. Regardless of whether it was fit on the team, Joe going away from him last year or something physical, and obviously that turned out to be the case. Said he felt better to start the preseason, but you didn't know until you actually saw it. Then you're seeing alley-oops, 3-pointers in crunch time, and a game winner alongside the defensive stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Jalen said on his stream, I know you tweeted this, Noah, that he looks outstanding. And you haven't heard that about any of the other bigs, really, other than Garza, who's gotten a lot of preseason hype too, but we've seen highs and lows from him. I feel like outside of him being a somewhat limited offensive player, like you're not going to get a ton from him offensively. He's doing his job, but you've gotten a lot out of Tillman this preseason, and we've seen him have a good preseason before. In fact, I think it was last preseason he was really good, and there was some excitement coming out of that one. You don't know how he's going to hold up physically over a whole season, especially playing more minutes here. But at a position where you're so thin and so uncertain, to have a fourth body there that's not only a nice additional piece and complementary piece to a lot of these other guys, but really gives you defense at a level that none of the other guys do all around. That's the biggest pleasant surprise of the preseason to me, bigger than anything else. That, like, he went from nothing to a potential plus for you. Like, that is ginormous to me.
Is there a reason for it?
His knee.
I always knew it had to
that,
be
huh?
all health. And yeah, he's had knee issues for a while.
There's a couple things here. Like, this is a good point too, where Xavier Tillman's dad passed away during the finals or during the playoffs, the year they won the title. He said it himself at camp the following season that he took the summer to like be with his family and like process everything that had happened. He did not come into camp last year saying, I worked my ass off all summer and I've never felt better in my life. Like, I think he had like a mental, time that he took for himself as well. And then
I think
last
he
year
said
starting,
that too.
he said that,
Like,
yeah,
he
he said
didn't
that.
do
And then
anything.
last year starting mid-season, like, he dealt with a knee injury that was so apparent. I mean, forget just on the court. Like, we see these guys walking around. Like, with Jalen and his knee last year, we would see him limping off the podium. Tillman was coming up for his warm-ups and he looked like he was in pain. So that's what happened. And I think because he's not like a major character on this team, it kind of went under the radar. But he had injections in his knee in the spring, and like, he talked about it, and it was bothering him. We barely saw him, even in garbage time. We didn't see him for a very long time last season. And so he really wasn't a factor. And he stays healthy now, and he said it to you, Bobby, I think, that it's not like he's had knee injuries his whole career. It's something that really became an issue for him in January. And so, yeah, if he can stay healthy, then he could be one of the answers in the front court, where he really has been like probably the least discussed guy heading into the season.
Yeah, if he's hitting threes, if he can get into a floater, if no one's guarding him, finish inside. I mean, that was what they thought when they acquired him. They knew he had offensive deficiencies. They knew the shot wasn't a surefire thing, and it hasn't been throughout his career. When you look at the numbers, it's pretty low percentage-wise. Not a ton of shots, but he hasn't gotten into the 30s as solidly as you would have liked at this point. So offensively, he's mostly just screening, cleaning up stuff around the rim. They thought if he could give them that, the defense would be enough of a bonus that he'd be able to get on the floor, along with hitting a three here or there. Last time he was healthy and himself, according to EPM, he was legitimately one of the best defenders in the league. Not a rim protector, not a guy who's a huge deterrent inside, but he made a nice play inside down the stretch. And when he can get some verticality, he can be a little disruptive inside just with his size. So I don't know how they're going to get him on the floor a ton with the offense. I don't know if he can move to the four if he's not hitting threes, but the way he's playing right now, he's going to get minutes in some fashion, especially if he is providing just a little bit of offense. Like, they need some defense here. There were stretches in this game where it was just a layup line for Toronto, and it didn't look like they were capable of getting a single shot. When he got out there late, it started to turn in the other direction. They were able to pile up some stops, at least inside.
Let me ask you guys a question, though. When it all starts for real, this is where we're going to kind of struggle to figure out what this team is about. Is it depth, or is it just a bunch of below average players? And this is where it always is. And you see it not just with the Celtics, but with other sports too. Like, some people will say the Patriots receiving group is deep, and it's really just a bunch of number 3s and 4s. That's not deep. That's just, I don't have great guys, but I've got a lot of the same level caliber guy. Now, is this a deep team, or is it just almost everybody is the same in terms of the level of contribution that they can provide from 6 through 11? You know what I mean?
I think that's the perfect way to describe it.
But is that contribution? How significant is that contribution? That's going to swing. That's going to really swing the season. That's what it's all going to come down to. Are you going to get decent contributions from those people when they're mixing and matching and playing, or is it going to be wildly inconsistent? One night good, one night bad. You never know what you count on. Who's going to play? Joe's constantly shuffling in and out, trying to find a hot hand. Somebody has a good first half stint. I mean, how many times have we seen it with like even a guy like Luke before he really came into his own, or a Tillman, or even a Kada? Good first half stint, horrible second one. Can they be trusted? Are you going to find a trusted group of people? Are you just going to keep running them out there and just hope the sheer volume of bodies and freshness is what's going to sustain you? This is where I'm stuck. This is where I'm stuck on this team.
It's so interesting though, because we went from the hockey sub conversation, which, you know, you can do the verbiage however you want there, subbing a lot of guys in and out of games. Was that actually going to be something this team does? They've done it all preseason. And then I think Joe came before this game about as close as he has to saying, this might just be what we do. And it was an interesting quote. I mentioned it to you while we were watching tonight. Not having a rotation can be a strength. I get what he's saying, and I understand what the thinking is there, but it is interesting to hear. Like, we just might not have a rotation this year. We might just be trying to fit different guys in different spots any given night. We might not have a starting lineup that's the same every night. I think that's where this is headed, especially with Jalen out, if he is out to start next week.
God.
Yeah, I think what he means by that is that, like, there's always a rotation. It's just that the rotation might change from game to game a lot more than we're used to. It's not necessarily like, here's the answer key, Ugo is in the rotation and Jordan and Baylor are out of the rotation. It'll depend on matchups. It'll depend on how guys are playing in individual games. It's a lot easier to keep everybody engaged that way, because for the last few years, half of the active roster was pretty much not going to play on any given night because of how short of a rotation the Celtics ran, because it was all about winning, and it was all about winning a title and kind of playing their playoff rotation as much as possible throughout the season. And so I do think you're going to see a completely different approach this year. And to John's point, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that they have so many talented players that they're going to do that, but it might mean that you have players that can do specific things really well and maybe other things not as well. So depending on the night, depending on the prerogative that game, like, you're going to lean on different guys for different things. Like, I've been really impressed with Ugo. Speaking of, like, preseason impressions, I didn't think, based off Summer League, that he was going to spend a lot of time in Boston this year. I thought that he was a guy that was going to spend his rookie season primarily in Maine, like kind of what we've become accustomed to. And I think he's somebody that might actually be a rotation player. And what does that mean to be a rotation player? I think it might mean that for some stretches of the season, he plays 15 minutes a night, and maybe other stretches he doesn't. So it'll be interesting to see the kind of the role players up and downs this year. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to overreact to these 4 games and say these are the guys that are going to be pivotal. These are the guys that aren't. Obviously, some guys had a better preseason that we could see than others. But that it'll be a completely different vibe. I think I think people from the outside have been calling for Joe to play more players, and we are almost for sure going to see that this season.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's definitely going to be digging deep. I think that's what it's not necessarily strength in numbers, Noah, but they don't really have a choice but to mix and match and see which players are going to hopefully turn into NBA rotational guys. Because I think you're starting the season with a rotation that includes some players that might not be in a normal contending team's rotation. So there's definitely opportunity there. And a guy like Minot is like the perfect example, right? I mean, somebody who, came from Minnesota, not a player that you heard much about, despite the fact that he was on a successful team, comes over to Boston, has an opportunity to play here, and it sounds like he's going to fit in pretty nicely. These are the types of seasons where you can maybe find some of those little, like, diamonds in the rough type situations, where you typically, the last few years, rotations set pretty much early on into the year. You're not even really looking that far down the bench if you're Joe Mazzulla on a normal year with the Celtics team.
It's an interesting way to put it. Who this preseason showed you that they're an NBA rotation guy in this team?
That's
among
what
the guys that we were uncertain about, and I think only one did, and that was Chris Boucher. Like, I wouldn't even go as far as to say
who already was.
You think
Minot
did enough to show he's like a everyday, like, rotation player?
We already knew that with Boucher, though.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been there his whole career, so that wasn't a hard one. But I don't think anyone ran away and solidified themselves as, like, this guy's going to play every single night. And, we opened the show with him before you got on here, Noah, or, opened up when I got on here about Keita. And I love what I saw from him tonight. I feel good about him going into the year, but the totality of his preseason performance didn't say, here you go, he's your starting center, run away with it, and you'll be playing every single night here.
Joe actually, I don't know if he meant to say this, but when Gary
He did
asked
say
Joe
starter.
about, yeah, he said, this is what you've been waiting for your whole life. You know, you're going to be the starting, being the starting center on the Celtics. And I was like, he hasn't, he started today. He obviously didn't start the last preseason game. Hauser didn't play today. So I don't know if he's the starting center or not, but that seemed, I don't know if that was a slip up or if that was just a hypothetical, but
I bet it was intentional. Like all preseason, we've been
yeah,
tough
Joe
on
doesn't
you,
slip up.
benched you.
Yeah.
Like we've really buried you at times here, but guess what? You got through it and you're the starter. I bet that's exactly what that was.
Yeah. So I don't think I swung at any dramatic direction in the minutes that Keita played this preseason. Like we know that he can do what he did.
Who's got
tonight.
the inside track? Who's starting? You think it's Keita? Opening night?
Yeah, I think it's Keita.
Yeah.
I think it should be Keita and Boucher.
Why do you think Boucher got the no, come on, you're doing it again. You're doing they have no bigs and we're gonna play double big.
Boucher's hardly a big. Boucher is a forward. He likes playing on the perimeter.
I know. I do hate putting Hauser on the bench though. Like that kind of hurts, but yeah, I'm in on double big again.
I don't even know if it's double big. Like that's a little different than double big.
It is. I mean, it's a modern day big. He's a forward. He's a stretch 4-ish sort of guy. I don't know. I don't know what you call it.
I mean, I think if you're if you're opening night
on this team, he's a big.
And Joel,
on this team, he's the big, right?
Right.
Yeah, has to be.
Probably.
He's definitely not a center, but on this team, he's a big, right?
Yeah. He's gonna have to be part of that dynamic.
I mean, I think if it's opening night and you're playing, if Joel Embiid is healthy and you're playing the 76ers, you can say like we're gonna start Sam Hauser and Chris Boucher, and it won't work. So you're probably gonna want some size up there. I mean, like Keita, I think is gonna get that opportunity, and maybe it's not gonna go well, maybe it's gonna go great, but I would imagine that's where the coaching staff will land with their starting lineup against that type of team. Not every NBA team has a starting center that is like Joel Embiid, but a decent amount of them do, and I think that Keita is going to get some tough assignments to start the season.
That's going to be his job, guarding the centers. He's roamed in the past. He even mentioned to me over the summer when I was over in Portugal with him there that he might roam more this season, but I don't think they have the personnel to do that unless he's playing with like Garza somehow, which, I mean, that was another way down the list takeaway I had from this preseason is that Garza's actually not going to shoot a lot of threes. I thought he would be bombs away from out there, but he really wasn't. I think he went 1 of 4 in total. You're not necessarily playing those two together. So Boucher, Keita to start, Garza with some of the secondary minutes in there. And I don't know, does Tillman get a mix of some 4 minutes in the second unit there? It looks like it to me. They're going to go deep into this rotation. I don't think there's any doubt about that, as Gary asked before the game, 11 guys, it's in play to start the year. Minot's in the mix. Who goes in the mix?
That's fun. As somebody who chronically likes covering end of rotation players, this is going to be personally gratifying.
This is your season.
Is there something to it, John? Like, just the chaos, and that's how Joe described it, the chaos of just having guys fly in and out of the game, like changing the lineup constantly, just putting in fresh legs and having them fly around. Like, can that lead to some wins? Or is that just not going to work in the regular season?
Zannis is on another planet right now.
Jimmy.
I'm in the middle of
I got to start asking Jimmy questions. I'm over here with John. He's not even listening.
Yeah,
John is on another planet. John's got the glasses.
John, what are you up to?
John's breaking down the media game film.
Can you give us a hint?
No.
Yeah, he's working on something
Jimmy,
over there.
you answer my question because John's
you're gonna have to ask it again.
Can you sub in a bunch of guys left and right, play a million people, have them run around crazy, and win games in the regular season with that?
Not.
You're still asking me questions?
Not if the guys all suck. Bobby, no. If that's what you're doing it for a reason. It's because you don't have a set 5 guys that you can go to that can start these games, or 6 guys. You don't have enough talent. If you're constantly reaching and plugging in a guy here, plugging in a guy there, it's not actually the NHL where there's 4 lines going in and out of the game every 2 minutes. Like, it's not how it works in basketball. I know that was news to Jordan Walsh, apparently. Like, the guy thought that he was going to get subbed in every 3 minutes.
Or Jordan.
If you're doing that, something has gone terribly wrong. And I think we'll find out early on in the season if that's the case. I really do. And I think Bobby, you said, oh, if Jalen misses a few weeks, can you still go 500? Maybe. No, I hate to tell you, Bobby, you can barely go 500 with Jaylen Brown healthy. So if you take him out of the mix, I don't know if you'll win a single game. I'm not exaggerating.
I was encouraged by their ability to win this one without him, but you were going against some deeper lineup Raptors guys down the stretch. So
yes, it's a preseason game. No preseason game has ever mattered in the history of the NBA. Sorry.
Opening stretch. It's good. Philly. It sounds like they're going to have Embiid and George. It's Detroit, who's tough. New York, who's tough. I mean, there are definitely some New Orleans is healthier than they've been. It's a gauntlet early. And listen, we said it. I'm not going to change now because it's the reality. We said if Jaylen goes down or White goes down or Pritchard, one of these frontline guys, it's going to get scary. And I said it, Noah, like before you got on here, you're legitimately talking about starting Shireman if Jaylen's out. Like, that's where you're at if Jaylen's out.
Wait, why?
You just saw that's what they did in the second half. Like, it's just the only guy with a comparable skill set. Oh, true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so it'd be Hauser, which would be a little better about, obviously. But it's not Jaylen.
So what was the conclusion on feeling better or worse after the 4 preseason games? Because, again, we only saw one game against starters, and that was tonight. And then Jaylen goes out, so it still feels incomplete. But again, I don't know where you stack Toronto versus the Celtics in the East, guys, but like this was the closest you had to like playing someone. I think that Toronto's one of those, like, are they better than the Celtics or are they worse sort of teams? You're not really entirely sure. It could kind of go either way, right? But like this is kind of the thing. They're really in a mishmash of the range is insane. The range really is 5 to 12. Yeah, it's insane, and they would all be equally unsurprising. It's a real wild card, but you are seeing like I don't know how you guys feel. I definitely feel like there's gonna be rough patches a lot with this group in here. That you're getting in there because I don't know who's reliable enough to just like I don't think you can find the 6, 7, and 8 guys. Like I feel great here. I mean even
tonight it took 17 threes from White, him getting to the lines 9 times, scoring 33 points, and a Tillman floater at the buzzer to get it done. And the turnovers are flowing. You're down ball handlers.
They didn't close out with their like preferred lineup.
True. Yeah, definitely. But
honestly, I think Derek White can get 17 threes any night.
It's what you're going to have to do. You're just going to be riding that wave if Jaylen's out. So
you're going to absolutely have to. And you had 2 horrible shooting nights from Simons and Pritchard as well. So
Simons had a weird night.
Simons had a weird night.
Pritchard was 1 for 11.
What have you guys seen defensively from Simons? He had a blow by earlier. His angles are really weird. I'm a little nervous here in terms of whether he's going to be picking it up.
Yeah, especially if it's Garza playing behind him and just not a lot of defenders around him. That was the risk in moving him to the bench, which it looks like it's going to be here. And I obviously want Pritchard to start. I want him to be in that position that he's earned, but Simons is just going to have worse defensive personnel around him in the second unit too, and that doesn't help the situation he's already in here. I don't know how you feel about this, Noah, but the fouls, they've been pretty high throughout the preseason here, and I'm willing to chalk it up to him just being more aggressive and trying harder on that end and that leading to these fouls, but they're definitely not helping right now, along with some of the other stuff we're talking about with him here. He's the guy he was on Sunday, and I gave this to John, even though I'm a defensive guy. The offense will overrule whatever issues he's having on that end. But he can't survive a night like this, along with some of the defensive lapses.
I'm a little nervous on the Simons front. I'm definitely a little nervous on the big rotation front. I'm definitely a little nervous if any major star misses time. We'll cover a lot of it. We're going to do our season preview bold prediction show probably on Monday next week, so we'll kind of unfold a lot of it there. I like what we talked about earlier with Tillman, looking better and more spry. But again, all of these things, I feel like all of these pieces, Tillman looking this way would have been a huge help last year, right? Like having a guy like Minot would have been a huge help last year to give a little bit of wing depth and give Jalen and Jason a rest, right? But like on this team, we always talk about elevating people past what their roles should be, and I feel like you're doing it. You're doing it almost on player number 3 and down. Everybody's bumping up, way up, kind of punching. What's the expression? Out of your weight class or whatever.
Punching above their weight.
Punching above their weight across the
Yeah.
board. And that's the concern for me. It's not that they're not capable or useful in certain ways. Everyone's being asked to punch above their weight beyond Tatum and Brown. And that includes Pritchard.
That makes me
Yeah.
think of Pritchard, Noah. Was this just a bad shooting night for him, or was this Jalen's out, you're in the driver's seat, and this is the result?
No, I think it was just a bad shooting night. Like he had good looks. I didn't see anything that made me think otherwise. He's pretty that's kind of an aberration for him, but like Joe said, I honestly didn't think he played poorly, regardless of that stat line. But I actually have felt like from his preseason play, he hasn't forced the issue and he hasn't done anything crazy, but I have not gotten any sense of this is going to be a struggle for him because now he's one of the top guys in the rotation. So he's not going to shoot 1 for 11 often. And I didn't think they really forced him into bad shots in this game.
I'd have to watch back tonight to get a sense of that. The first Toronto game where Jalen sat out, I do think they threw a ton at him, pressure-wise, double teams, traps. He even talked about it at the practice they had when we got back. That was like Pritchard in a number 1 driver's seat role, facing what defenses throw at those guys. And obviously Toronto sat everybody that night too. But you mentioned the quote Jalen had that they almost got more defensive pressure from the Raptors guys who were the backup. So that was an interesting night because he started slow and he finished great. This, I'd agree, was just a bad shooting night, but he made up for it with some pretty stellar passing. I thought the ball movement in this game was really good. Hitting guys back line, finding open shots. The offense, there's defensive concerns here, and I heard you guys talk about this on Sunday. The offense, to me, is going to put points up regardless of who's out there, just with the pace they play and the amount of threes they're taking, and Simons and Pritchard and White and all these guys. So I don't have offensive concerns. It's all defense right now.
Well, let's move off this because Jimmy wants to get it. They want your take, and again, we'll put some of it up here. They want your take on some of the media game action here, which we put up on the screen earlier, and it sounds like a good time had by all, despite what it looked like.
Boat was
okay. I don't know. You guys can see it. You guys can talk about it. You can give me your takes, your analyses on how this all went down. There's dunking going on. Did you guys dunk?
I would personally say I think it was.
Go ahead, Noah.
I was gonna say I think it was one of the coolest experiences I've had covering the Celtics. Honestly, it's very rare that we have time with the coaching staff, and particularly with Joe, that is not press conference, practice, uptight, on the clock. And so getting that opportunity in and of itself was really cool. I didn't think that the game went any differently than I expected once we heard that the coaches were going to play against us. I don't know, this is, these are former NBA players that are all and college stars that are all in their athletic prime. So
but you went down.
I just
way
thought it was a cool thing to do in the preseason. And Joe said we're going to do it again. I'd love to do it again because I think it's just one of those moments where it's
ooh, this is the play.
We're all just people playing basketball. That's how it felt.
Was it fun? Was losing this bad fun?
I thought so.
So
would it have been more fun if you played with them and it wasn't that?
No, honestly, I thought. Go ahead.
Here's my perspective on it because I get what you're saying, John. So I started on the bench. I think you started Noah the game, right?
No, I started on the bench too.
You were on the bench too. So
wow, CLNS gets no respect in the starting lineup.
we let other people get on
we
the
were
court.
good teammates.
Yeah. That was a great
when
one.
it got to 7-0, which is I think when we got out there and it started to show what they were doing, the press and everything else, I was a little mad on the sideline. I was like, oh my God. And then once you got out there and you started to get up and down and you started to understand. And again, it didn't surprise you, Noah, the way this went. It did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there. Once I was like, oh, all right, they're going 100%. These are D1 guys. former pro and
What made you think that you were going to hang in there? Like they're all
that's
like legit.
That's what threw me off.
I just had to go in with that mindset. Like I couldn't go in saying,
I
"Oh,
like
man,
the
we're gonna get
confidence.
killed." Well, I did. Once I heard,
I
we
think
were
you may
getting
have
pressed,
poked the
I
bear a
was like,
little bit,
uh-oh.
Bobby. I feel like you may have.
I definitely did.
I
don't think that made them press. I think they were going to do that regardless. But yeah, once I heard they were going to press, I was like, "Oh no!"
Do you believe you could have had a good experience and bonded if you didn't lose 57-4? Like,
No, I'm glad they tried. I don't like going against.
Do you think they tried, or did they just want to embarrass you?
Is there a
They definitely
version of this
tried.
game? Yeah. Is there a version
Here's
of
the
this game that could have been more enjoyable to not have this happen? Or did you like the beating is what I'm saying? Like, was it fun to go play there and lose this badly? Or would you rather they have played with you, played lighter, played a little loose, let you have
because
some
what was
fun?
enjoyable? What was enjoyable was
Did you
seeing.
like this? Yeah.
What was enjoyable was seeing the level that they could get to, and not just because, oh man, these guys are amazing. It was the style they played, the connectivity they played with, how just methodical they were. Like, it wasn't just like they went all out to smoke us. Like, this is what the Celtics do. Like, to me, what really blew me away is when you put the ball on the floor for a second, it was like a bolt of lightning. They were just taking it, like boom. Like they knew exactly how to.
I
get
know,
the
but
ball,
like
the
they
angle,
wanted to
everything.
skunk
Bobby.
It was impressive.
But like
Here's
Bobby,
the thing.
I've played with ex-NBA players, I've played with D1 players, and when they're playing guys like me, they know not to do that because it sucks. Like they shoot from outside, they
But John,
distribute, they pass, they don't play defense. They're just running and they're giving you a version of themselves
play
that allows
defense.
you
Not
to
playing
play.
full court.
But I mean, I've played with ex-NBA players. I've played with D1 guys, and they're not trying to crush you because what's the point? It's like, is it fun if I take my kids outside and beat them, 24-0? Like, that's not fun. You play.
That was
you
fun
shoot
today,
threes, you shoot
son.
lefty.
He's crying in the corner.
That was great.
But John, it wasn't like they were lining people.
Did you need the beating to know that NBA players are good at basketball?
No, it was more about how they played together.
You didn't think Phil Pressey could hit threes?
To me, it was the ball press or the press they played with was what really blew me away. It wasn't the shooting or the skill or any of that. Like they played an unbelievable defensive game that blew me away. And I'm a defense.
Hey, you
guy.
guys liked it. You guys loved it.
It's like
all good.
It's like John. It's like a headline
if I
from
was
The Onion. It's like local man loses 80-4 in pickup game, but had fun.
I'll just say, as a girl's perspective, who pretty much at this point in my life only plays basketball with guys, there are so many moments where I'm like, I know that if I was a guy, that person would have gone for that rebound a little harder or drove to the basket a little bit more like firmly, but they're like, oh, I don't want to hurt her. She's a girl. And it was really cool for the shift away from that to be not just happen in a game, but also happen in a game with Joe Mazzulla and Emile Jefferson and Tony Dobbins and all these great players, because they were guarding me and Caleb Burton exactly the same as they were anybody else. And that rarely happens in pickup basketball when I play against guys. I oftentimes feel like there is like, oh, she's a girl, like I'll guard her differently. And it's like, nobody did anything dirty. They weren't playing dangerously. Like we're all bruised up, but like it wasn't like they were doing anything intentional to hurt us. And in my opinion, as a competitor,
I stayed away from
that was
the
like, as that competitor, that was like the most fun thing you could have. And I would way rather compete against Joe Mazzulla, who is giving 1,000%, than Joe Mazzulla, who's like, let's just pass the ball around and like, whatever. Like, I don't want to go through the motions. I want to play basketball. So to me, that was so fun.
Was that
like,
basketball, you guys think? Does that qualify as basketball?
We played terrible, but it was basketball. And honestly, we
you
did a terrible job.
You crossed how many times did you say
and you know what? That was on
court?
us. We did not. We
Wait,
we
they
had
didn't even get you.
In order
They
to
weren't
play
letting you get
basketball,
past half court?
You do have to get the ball into the offensive
We should not.
zone.
Nobody on our court. Nobody on our team should have dribbled. That was like what I was thinking the entire time. And
yeah,
ever. It should have all been Kari in the middle, pass to Kari. Kari keeps the ball over his head because he's taller than still most of the people on the court. And then everybody shoots down, and then we try to take a shot off. Like, I got one shot attempt. It was a brick, a three off. Joe Mazzulla was guarding me, and then Kari got the rebound and scored. Like, had I made that shot, that would have literally been like a a core memory from my life. And so I'd rather have that. I'd rather have this like fun experience. And if anybody didn't expect that score, like, then this was a good reality check. But to be honest with you, like, this is what we all should have expected. And I saw a lot of people online being like, now the media is like not gonna, you know, be able to ask tough questions and all that. It's like, everybody that covers the Celtics should know that the gap, our basketball ability is like, there's an insane gap between. Right. So like, to me, this didn't change the kinds of questions that I'm going to ask, or like the way I'm going to write about the team, or the way I'm going to cover the team. It was just a really cool, like, creative thing that we did that I do think is probably going to improve the relationships between the coaching staff and us. And then also between ourselves. Like, we don't really have a lot of moments where we all bond as a beat. Like, we're all competitors at the end of the day. Sometimes we come on each other's podcasts and sometimes we retweet each other's stuff, but like, there's not a ton of that. So in that sense, I thought that was kind of a cool bonding thing that we all had as a media unit, that we shared this collective beating together. So that made it fun too.
Let me ask this question.
Play? I thought he was a baller in Greece.
Corrales played, yeah.
He's older. It's tougher. He can definitely play. But let me ask you this question: why do you think the choice was by them, you know, to make it hell? Like, do you think that would, like, versus play it any other way? What's the impetus behind that? Like, why was Joe mad that you guys even scored 4? Why did they want to press so bad that you couldn't get the ball across
to show the level?
Why was the message? But why though? What is that?
What
is
level?
That?
And again, it wasn't
like they weren't. I'm just curious. Yeah.
To show the level, and it's not just the skill level. It's not just the physicality level or any one of the things that made it such a beatdown. It was, again, like, they had a game plan and they were executing it.
What are they trying to? What was, again, proving a point, showing you guys why?
The level.
Why
the level they can get to?
Why do you need to know it? Why is it important?
I don't even think it was that.
Because of people like me who thought we could hang in there.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
maybe
honestly, Bobby, if you thought that, then
yeah.
you did need to receive that message.
You did need it. You needed the beating. Yeah.
But I feel like it was more because they're just competitors. Like, Joe doesn't really play. He told me afterwards this is the first time he's played basketball since his knee surgery. Like, he doesn't really, like, he's not going to come in there and give it 50%. Like, and to be honest with you, they were not giving it 100%. Like, a lot of those guys were giving it 20%, I would say.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It wasn't even close to 100%.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just, like, I understand how, like, the final score went obviously very viral and, like, it became a national story because it's Joe Mazzulla and he's fascinating to everybody and all that. But in the moment, it didn't at all feel like they were trying to humiliate us or like they were trying to.
No, they weren't ISOing or, like, you know, backing people down. Or
they were also only shooting threes, which I think was a little, maybe that was a message. But Joe kept saying threes only.
It's the full court. It's the full court pressing that was the tough part, you know, because it doesn't even let you guys get the ball up the floor.
That was tough.
Us. That was poor execution.
You'll be ready. You'll be ready next time. You'll be ready.
It hit us so fast. The fact that they were playing and then that they were pressing and then that we, you know, didn't have much ball handling to lean on. It all.
Did you guys call a timeout and strategize ever? Like, did you say
tried.
like, all right, here's how we can beat the press? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely needed to talk how to get out of that better for sure. But again, like, the pressure just came so fast and furious that you almost didn't even have time to think. Like, the play, you know, we posted of Joe getting the stop on me. Like, I just got the ball, and before I even know it, like, there was, you know, I'll say this too, some real physicality, fouling out there, not complaining.
There was some definite fouls, yeah. We also were playing with an 8-second clock to cross half court, which I've never played with before. Like, we didn't have that in high school. I didn't have that in club. Like, I never played with an 8-second violation. So that was another.
They knew that if they just put guys on that half of the court, you weren't going to get it past an 8 seconds.
And it worked. I mean, at one point, getting a shot off felt like a massive accomplishment. Like, you know, no.
So what? Yeah, that's I think John's point. I think that's probably John's point where it's like.
But we did score. We did end up getting shots off. Like, you would rather break through the crack of what we went against and score 4 than just have them fooling around. Like, I hate going against people who don't try or fooling around. Like, that's even worse to me than what we went through, which is they tried, they went for it, and it was a beatdown. And I came away impressed by what we went against, not the skill level, but just how good they are at getting to the ball how effective they are at pressing. The way they do, even offensively, like they were moving the ball and they were tough to guard, and the rebound angles and all that. Like, as people who love basketball, seeing, right in front of you, against you, the level that you can get to there. And again, this isn't even NBA guys other than Pressy. It was impressive. It was cool.
God Jr. has NBA blood in him, though.
Yeah, he does.
And apparently he doesn't usually shoot like that, but he shot lights out. Also, just to clarify, it was a 10-second cross half court in high school. So that was the 8 seconds is NBA only, but we did
8 is NBA. It's crazy.
Which when you're getting full court press, but with those guys, every second counts.
Yeah, and I think the banter.
It gave me anxiety watching it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, but that looked so stressful with the amount of pressure they were putting on.
There was a banter. There was a conversation. Like, we talked after the game, all of us and the coaches and stuff. Like, there was stuff off camera that people didn't see that made it more lighthearted and enjoyable and a bonding moment.
When Joe turned you over, he didn't look at you. He just clapped it up and went back up the court.
Yeah, no,
I
we
think
talked for a while
part of it
after
was
the
also
game. Like, it was great.
The way he said it, like in the scrum, he was like, "I got news for you guys. You're not playing each other. You're playing the coaches." And then so people see that clip that I posted,
and guess
then
what?
an hour later
I
they
love
see the
it.
scoreboard. They're like, "Oh my god,"
Listen, and he said this today. Like, I get out there, like, and again, like Noah was laughing at me, but like when I get on the floor, I want to play hard. I want to win. I want to go for it. Like, I get what Joe's saying in that sense. Like, it was a battle out there, and I loved him going at me. I tried.
I don't think it was a battle. I don't know if battle's the word, but
no, it was a physical battle. Like, I wasn't even complaining about foul calls because I knew what it was going to be. I know how they play. It was just fun to be a part of. And
there's not one fraction of you that believes that there was a little like, let me put these guys in their place a little bit.
For sure. And that's fine.
I guess to me, it's like I think about the disparity between
Bobby, you were bullied.
These assholes ask me questions. I can't stand it. I can only do so much. I lost my cool the other day. I don't want to do that. I'm going to take it out on them here, and I'm going to put these guys in their place. I was
talking trash before the game.
I want to show you just how big a difference there is between the way we do basketball and the way you guys think basketball works. And so there was at least a message to be sent.
There was a lesson to be learned.
There was a lesson. Yeah. At least some kind of lesson where you guys get it now, right? Sort of thing.
I guess to me, if I felt like I received that lesson, maybe it would have impacted me differently. Like if I walked away from that, being
but you
like,
knew
oh,
it. Yeah.
Right. I mean, my dad's 65 years old. He played professional basketball 40 years ago, 30 years ago. And we play one-on-one every weekend and he beats me 21-0 usually. So it's like, and he's 65 years old. So no part of me was like,
you got to get him a media pass.
No, literally, he would have. I mean, honestly, I don't know if he would have helped us with the press break, but like that's like I think about that all the time. That's why like when we talk, and honestly, that should inform how we talk about the players. Like I think there's a lot of media and fans and people being like, "This guy sucks," and it's like that's lazy commentary. Like that's not how we should talk about NBA basketball players. You can say these are the weaknesses to their game, or like they might not fit into this system, or how do these combinations work?
The worst of them is amazing.
Yeah, right. So if there was even one media member that walked away from that game being like, you know what, maybe I do need to have a little bit of a wake up call of like the gap between us and regular people, then that message was received. I personally didn't walk away with that message because I quite literally think about that all the time, and that's maybe part of why I don't like talking about players like that, besides for the obvious human reasons. But like maybe there were some people on the beat or people that were even just sitting at home, fans sitting at home that were like, wait a second. Like one of the things that I would remind you guys is that we had multiple college basketball players among us. Like Jay King played in college, John Krause played in college and overseas, Kayla Burton played D1, Autumn, who runs social media with the Celtics, she played D1, and Bucknell. Like we had real basketball players. And so if there are people that walked away being like, wait, this is actually like a good reminder, then it worked. But that's just not where my mindset was at. So I was just viewing it as like, yeah, I'm not trying to throw shots at you, Bobby, but maybe you were one of those.
You keep saying, did anyone walk away? It's me.
Bobby
is
played
Lehigh D1?
Peabody Rec League back in 4th grade.
Lehigh is D1?
No, I don't.
That's
Yeah.
what,
And that's the thing
that's
too.
where Kayla played. Okay.
Yeah.
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 And Buckner.
And that's
yeah.
the thing too. Like Noah mentioned the environment, she came up around growing up with the pro. Like I didn't play high school. I didn't play any basketball. So like to be in that environment with people on that level, I didn't have that. So that was a good experience to be able to see it played at that level.
It's always the loudest ones, John. It's always the
It's
loudest
humbling,
ones. Right,
It's humbling. The BC when I was playing,
One's talking
whatever.
trash.
The BC guys used to come down to our park and play every once in a while. It was humbling, I mean, that's D1. That's not XNBA, I mean, it's friggin' it's less about understanding the levels and more about I want you guys. I want to kick your asses a little bit. I hope you don't mind. Of course you know the difference in the levels. Yeah.
I don't have many skills out there, but I wanted to impress how hard I play, and I think that resonated with Joe a little bit. And
you got respect.
We did a media versus media game after getting the coaches out of there, and I hit a 3, and Joe was like on the sideline being like, "Yeah." So again, there were like some actual good bonding moments out there that you didn't really see on the clips here. So it was a really fun day. You could even just boil it down to the fact that it's pretty cool to play a basketball game at that facility. Like you can just boil it down to that if you want to. But there was a lot of other stuff I found fun.
One of my favorite moments personally. And then that's Bobby pointing at Joe. One of my favorite moments personally is that
you ripped it from Kayla?
That's wrong.
Oh, he blew by Noah. Noah, you let Bobby blow by you right there?
Twice.
I didn't know we had that on camera.
Your dad's going to be pissed when he sees that.
There's Rich.
Rich just turned into Jay King.
I had a really good second game.
Did you? According to who?
Okay, so this was the final play. It was my bad.
Whoa.
And so after the game, all the coaches were coming up to us and were like telling the other team that they should have fouled. They were saying like, "What were you?" Because I had my back to the basket and we were down by 3, and I had no game plan. And so everybody was obsessing over the final play. And I turned to Joe and I said, "Joe, we are all scrutinizing the final play right now, but really this game was lost at the beginning of the second half when we missed 2 coverages." And he got a good laugh out of that, because truly that's as the player on the court, that's actually where I felt like the game was lost. But it was a nice little reminder that when you're on the sidelines, like you always want to think about the final play. So we had a lot of nice little moments.
Follow up 3.
Yeah, he got a good laugh, and I was like, "Joe, you're focusing on the wrong things. Like the game was not last on the last play." So
nice.
I don't know. To me, I hope we do it again. No part of me felt embarrassed at all. Maybe if I had felt embarrassed, then I would have thought that the intention was to embarrass me. But I feel like you have to feel that feeling to like take that away from the experience.
Unfortunately, too, our
that.
great photographer, Rich May, walked out with an injury, so he didn't get to finish.
He looked
the day with
okay.
an ankle.
He looked okay
But
today.
He came out of it okay.
Today. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Richie.
Well, good for Richie. Good for the Celtics. Good for the media. I guess this was a win for them.
Good for you guys.
And that's good.
You guys sound so unhappy for us.
No, it's great. I'm glad.
No,
Jimmy, like
Jimmy,
good for
John,
you guys.
You guys come
press
down, give us
conference-
some reinforcement.
The
next
press
year.
conference
Point
was
guard
all
next
cool.
time, I'll cover a few
Everybody's
games.
making nice now. I like it. The press conference was so sweet. Joe was answering every question respectfully. You guys are good now. Everything is good. Everything's fixed. Okay.
I think it was a
That's
big
it.
day for me and
Joe's
Joe.
never going to be mean again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long that's going to last. But,
I do wonder, because it was the best behavior aspect of the press conference today, and I think that had more to do with the Jack Simone blowout than the way he behaved the other day, and like trying to let's not do that again. But that was unreal. I want to frame that press conference. If there's ever one that's that civil and nice again, we'll see. What were you gonna say, Noah?
Did you hear about how there's no longer a stage in the press room?
I saw that. You're on the same
Why is
level
that?
now.
Symbolism.
As soon as he walked in, I knew exactly what it was.
He chose that.
Although
yeah,
I wasn't
he
here.
wanted it to be like we're all like it's a little bit less like Joe was on the stage and we're
We're
all asking
all
questions and
on
like
the
a
same
you know
plane is how he described it.
yeah.
Look at all that.
So I will say I really like that because one thing that pisses me off a little bit about coverage, John, and I know you can relate to this a little bit. I do hate like the barrier that's up between you and these guys, and like you walk by them in the hallway sometimes and like you can't even like say hello to them, and like there's no time to just like fraternize like you used to with players and stuff in the locker room. Like I do like there actually being someone on the other side who wants to tear that down, because again, like we all got to talk after the game, got to mingle with some assistants who you don't always get to talk with a ton. Brad even came down and chatted for a while. Like that just has to be part of the dynamic here. And I feel like sometimes there is too much of like a wall built up between us and the other side that actually hurts the relationship and the way that they get discussed and, covered.
This is classic. This is business 101, John. Sweeten up the critics, get them on your good side right before the season starts. Might not be the prettiest season, There might be a lot of L's this year, but
You guys are so cynical.
everything is hunky-dory in Celtics land today.
I'm not cynical. I'm giving you about 5% of what I think, but it doesn't really matter.
This is
Come on, John, give us the full.
Why don't you just
No,
say
no,
your
no.
real take?
No,
Just say it.
look.
You want us to
my
go
real
full,
take is
full Missoula, full court?
No. My real take is I actually do believe Joe thought this was a form of bonding, but it was like, wasn't it fun to get your ass kicked like that? And that's fine. I believe that he believed it, but I also think that he was trying to send a message, and he sent a message. You guys just happened to like it, and that's it. So no complaints. You guys had a good time. Joe had a good time. Everybody involved in it is fine. But I clearly think there was some sort of, let me see if I can break these guys a little bit thing, whether it's to soften a relationship down the road, to maybe get better coverage, or just simply to kind of knock you down a peg or two. That's what I believe the motivation was. That's my actual take. But everybody seemed to have a good time, and really, it doesn't matter what I think because you guys.
I was
going
to
to
say also separately.
Yeah,
separately, it is cool. Obviously, it is cool to be on the court and playing, a legit game of basketball with some of these coaches and guys that you do come up. Like that aside is cool. But Bobby, they did wipe the floor with you. Just to be clear, they did wipe the floor with you.
They did.
I've also lost by 53 before. That actually probably wasn't the largest margin of deficit I've ever lost a game to. So
I lost by 49 one time. That was bad.
Yeah, we had
not to NBA players.
With the worst practice
Everybody
we've ever
went
had in
D1.
our lives the next day. It was great. It was like the scene in Miracle where he takes the ice and he goes again. That was our practice after losing by 49 to Newton North, our rival. It was so
I want to
bad.
say there was some running over the fact that they didn't shut us out, the coaches. I want to say so.
That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Who scored the other?
No, they told us that.
Who scored the other 2 points?
Kari and Bobby Kravitsky. Off a feed from Richie.
Okay.
Richie had one of the assists, and Noah
I
will call
deserve
it an
credit for
assist.
the other assist.
It is like whiplash.
We'll call it
Getting
an
the
assist.
shot
like
off,
it.
Hockey assist. We'll take it.
Yeah. Potential assist.
Yeah,
I am covered in
potential
bruises,
assist.
though, I'm not going to lie.
But that's my
Well,
take. It
get ready for
appears
next month.
it appears to be no harm, no foul because everybody came away from it liking it. But I do believe Joe did it with a purpose.
Get ready for next month because we'll be doing it again.
We should do it
another
off the
game?
record next time.
No chance.
Yeah, we're going to do it again next month.
Oh,
I think we
it's
should do
multiple times a year. I thought it was like next year.
No, it's the
I
beginning
don't
of
know
something
for
great,
sure.
John.
I don't know for
said
sure,
we're
but that's what
I think
he
we're doing it
wanted to
again.
do. I think.
Oh, okay. Do
Okay.
you think that they're going to try to kill you the next time too, or
Get
it'll
your
be
shots up.
more mix
No,
and
it'll
match?
just be
Yeah.
different. It'll be just
John,
be
you should
different
come
coaches.
next time to see if you feel
No
different when you're
chance.
there.
No chance. No chance.
Jay King should be able to score. Come on. Like Jay, if you're watching, get your shit together,
He's not
man.
watching.
You gotta-
Drew Carter on the broadcast said I was gonna play, but as soon as I heard the coaches were playing, I said no freaking way. I was in no mood
you
to get
turned
my ass
around?
kicked. He said once I caught wind that they were playing, I didn't want to get my butt kicked or choked out. I wanted nothing to do with that game. Drew said it.
I
Sal
did.
wanted nothing to do with it. You guys
I did
charged
have
headfirst into the breach. You know, you're much braver than those guys.
Yep.
But Drew ran like hell. I want nothing to do with.
I'm mad about
this.
Scal. Man, we needed Scal. And I saw
Maybe
him
it would
tonight
feel
too.
different if I
"Come
was
on,
like-
man."
Maybe
Scal
I would
would
feel
have
different
evened
if I
the
was a
playing field
guy.
a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would have lost by 40.
Yeah. I guess some people had more to lose too. Like if you're like a guy who's like part of your brand is that you're really, really good at basketball and whatever, like you have a little more to lose there. For me, it's like I was so physically out compete there that I was just like, this is just fun, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure Bob Schron didn't care. You know, like I'm sure
Bob Schron didn't take a figurative hit, but man,
No Bob
he
Schron
absorbed
tonight at
some
the game though. I was
contact
like, I was
and
looking
got
out
up.
for him.
Oh, okay.
I hope he's okay.
Hope he's all right.
Yeah.
He took a tough
Yeah.
hit.
He's fine.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah, he's fine. Anyway, we'll wrap it up. But good times had by all. Preseason wraps up. Celtics finished 3-1 in the preseason. An exciting game tonight. Buzzer-beating win with Xavier Tillman. Get ready for a great year. Bold predictions coming on Monday. You are going to want to be around for those, and we're going to tell you our actual season predictions, what we think is going to happen with this year's team, which should be fun. And then the actual season kicks off on Wednesday. A bunch of us will be down at the Garden. We'll be bringing you content all day. So thank you guys for hanging out. We'll see you later.
No one's sneaking a vegan brownie by me, I'll tell you that.
Okay, you know what, John? We're going to do it. You have to feel that way too, Bobby.
I have to
Same.
feel that
Same
way.
to you.
Let's fight out over and make Luke your first center.
Bobby, we gave you Luke our